Welcome back to Northwest Elite Spirit, the channel you come to train your mind, body, and spirit. I'm Coach Brian. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that now and make sure to ring the notification bell to stay up to date on all of my newest releases. This is stretching in a warrior's garden. For these stretches, we're not using a lot of force really, other than gravity. So when I have my fingertips on my ear, for instance, I'm not like pulling. I'm just letting my elbow be pulled to the ground by gravity, and then I'm relaxing, almost imagining everything turning to almost a goo while still having good posture. And it's the same for, say, where I'm getting wide here. I'm putting all that weight in my chi spot, and I'm letting gravity do. I'm going to share with you some alternatives to do. You're going to see me get up and balance on a log. That's not for everybody right away, but I do show you some alternatives where you can get up on the log and still be safe and still get a good stretch at different levels. I do each of these for a count of 20 Mississippi. You don't have to do Mississippi or even 20. You can do 12. You can do 30. 20 has just become my routine. In some instances, I will get a really good sensation afterwards, after a stretch, and I'll get hyped up feeling. And I suggest if you get that, to just shake it out, gather yourself, take a deep breath, and relax. Because when we get hyped up, that's when we start forcing things, and for this routine, we're not trying to force anything. We are, however, going for the stretch, so you'll see me using the tools around me, like tree bark, to crawl my fingers across to get a deeper stretch, and then once I'm there, I'll relax. So I'll creep my fingers across, not forcing anything, and then I'll relax into that stretch.
So I like to go out wherever I'm at and find ways to do my stretch routine, and I figured out a way here at this park. We're going to start with palm of our hand near the temple, just resting there, and we're not pulling with that right hand. We're letting that right elbow, that entire right arm, relax down to the ground while we relax our neck, and we're keeping good posture. You saw I had the chicken wing there. You can do chicken wing, or you can do a hanging arm, or you can do both. If you do both, you hit different angles. And as you see here, hitting another angle with the neck. Hand is diagonal, cupping the back of the head. And that right elbow is just relaxing to the ground. But as you can see, I'm keeping an upright posture as well, keeping that frame strong. Both hands behind the head, inhaling deeply, and as you exhale, you are relaxing even further. I like to imagine everything just kind of coming apart, but easily. I'm not having to tear it apart or try very hard. It's doing it all by itself. Moving our way over to the left side, going diagonal and forward, keeping our balance about 3 finger widths below the belly button and 3 finger widths into the core, keeping soft knees, sitting back just slightly, and keeping a straight back. And here you can see me hitting both angles, the hanging fingers and the chicken wing. Enjoying the sunshine, taking in the sun, feeling good. Shaking it out. Every time these get to feeling really good, I have to shake it out, or I'll start trying too hard and using force, and there's no need for that here. We all know this one. So I'll count to about 20 here. And then in a second, you'll see me start to slide my forearm out to my fingertips. And that just gives me a deeper stretch area. I even kind of turn away from it, and I can feel that in my neck and all the way out to my fingertips. Shaking it out, and same thing on the other side. Holding it here for approximately the count of 20, and then beginning to drag that arm across, feeling it all the way out to the fingertips, and feeling good. Now this one, it feels like it might need force, but once your shoulders get loosened up, you're not going to need force. You can see my forearm is actually crooked kind of between the back of my head and my left elbow. And just keeping straight posture there creates all that force. Then I like to continue this one by dropping that right hand into the left hip. And again, it's just kind of relaxing and swinging down into place. And my hips are relaxed. And even my left arm is relaxed. Going to the other side. Again, getting up straight, and that creates all of that tension that you're looking for without having to force it. That's what it looks like from the back. Breathing, relaxing. And kicking it off to the side. Even that right elbow right now, or that right shoulder and elbow and wrist and all the way down to the fingers are relaxed. And I'm relaxing that hip out. I like to use that arm or that fist to swing that arm down into there and give that hip an extra push. And if you go out to where you're using your knuckles, or your second set of knuckles, you get a deeper push, and then you go out all the way to your fingertips, you'll get even deeper push and an even better stretch. And sometimes afterwards you feel like you might, have missed something or needed a little extra, and there's no shame in going back and looking for it. Now here I'm demonstrating how I grab the tree. Like, you can get grip and you can climb your fingers across. So when you want a deeper stretch, you can grip your fingers even further by just climbing along and then relaxing down into that stretch. And that's what I'm doing here. My feet are against the base and I am gripping that bark. And though I just hit the hips with that last stretch, I'm hitting them now at a different angle. And you can see me like wiggling a little bit. I like to search for and expand my range of stretch. So you'll see me wiggle, you'll see me float around. And that's just getting another angle on those stretches. Yeah, and even here, the balance is in the same place. 3 finger widths below your belly button, 3 finger widths into your core, and then just kind of allowing that balance to shift out into that bend that you're looking for. I really like these ones. These ones really get my shoulders a lot of mobility. And here you see me again floating around, and my hands are just resting there, relaxing. The grip and my finger pads and my hand pads are holding me in place, floating around, looking for the full range of motion. I'm not the most flexible guy in the world, but I am getting better every day, and these are helping a lot. Again, though we hit shoulders already, now we're going to a new angle, which is 1 at a time. And I'll just move around in this too, finding all the different little areas that I have tightness that I might not notice. Though I'm bent over, I've got a straight back and I'm sitting down on this instead of like bending over or hunching over. And my weight is being dropped into that spot that we've been talking about. Just manipulating that shoulder, breathing as we go. Deep breaths all the way around. And you saw me there. Creep the fingers across, getting up into good posture here. Sometimes you'll see me like touch my center line there, and in a way that's just for me to remind myself of how I need to be lined up for this. And now you see me with the backhand blade. We went from flat hand to backhand blade because, again, we're trying to hit all the angles, and you'll get more of a full body stretch this way. Sitting down into it, really getting that shoulder. And you'll see me close my eyes or look around like I'm thinking. And that's just me searching for the stretch, like, there it is. Or, I wonder where it's at, and wandering around and looking for it a little bit. Before we had wide hands with this one, and now we're going close hands. It's just another angle on all of these stretches. You see me sitting down, looking for it, wandering around a bit, closing the eyes and feeling it, or closing the eyes and searching for it until I feel it. Coming up out of this one, all of these little things, every little twist of the head, every little small body movement gives a new angle on this stretch, loosens up something new, feels a little different, reminding myself to line up, reminding myself to have good posture, reminding myself to breathe, reminding myself to relax. And though I'm relaxed, there's a lot of power in these positions. Horse stance, you'll see me in horse stance throughout most of this, and just transitioning from horse stance into other stances. This looks like a fighter stance, but it's bladed horse stance, in my opinion. Feeling that shoulder. I'm not having any like pain there, or feeling like I'm not getting as stretched out as I like. I'm just putting my hand there to be more in touch with the stretch, feel it a little better. Search for it a little more. Now we're going to get into hands. So here we're going to take our right thumb, put it on our left knuckle, and grab the thumb pad of our left hand, and then just relax everything down to the ground. This is going to put quite a bit of pressure on our wrist, but not in a terrible way. And then we're going to slide the palm of our right hand down to our wrist while bending those fingers over. Same, we're going to go left hand, right middle knuckle, grabbing the thumb pad and relaxing down. It's going to give you a lot of mobility and freedom and relief in your wrist. And then sliding that left hand pad down to the forearm while putting pressure on those fingers. Going to put our right thumb on the top of our left thumb pad in that little web there. Grab the meat of our pinky and relax everything out, twisting that hand out, using the right thumb as a brace. And not a lot of pressure, just relaxing it all out and holding everything there while breathing, while relaxing. Relax the fingers, relax everything up to the elbow. Gonna grab your right thumb and just grip it along with your forearm, grabbing them both at the same time and just holding them there. The goal is to get that thumb to sit with the forearm touching on either side. And that may seem like an impossibility at first, but if you keep it up, it'll be easy and you'll forget that you ever couldn't do it. Relaxing, letting that thumb. You saw me wiggling my pinky there, like just getting a little more feeling in that pinky. So you'll wiggle it. So what I do here is I take the blade of my right hand and I chop it in between two fingers. And not only chop it in between, but kind of teeter-totter it or jostle it or torque it back and forth. And man, you get a lot of mobility in your fingers and a lot of relief in your fingers like this. A lot of tension released like this. And then just a much wider range of mobility. So this is great for anyone who works with their hands, gamers, typists, people who hand sew, people who build things with their hands. This is a lot of relief given to the hands, and you don't lose any strength for it. As a matter of fact, you end up with more strength because you have strength in a wider range of motion. You just see me rolling those fingers back and forth, and eventually you can get like your pinky on the opposite, your pinky tip and your thumb tip, and you'll be able to really, really spread out those fingers in both directions. You may get some pops as well, but if you have any pain, just stop doing this. If you have pops with no pain, I would say not to worry about it. But if you have pops with pain, stop doing this. This is, again, just being diligent and really geeking out on the stretch. So now I stretch every finger independently, which feels really good and relaxing. So here I'm relaxing my fingers, all of my fingers, even on the hand, the grabbing hand, everything is still very relaxed and not forced, and you get such a huge stretch out of this. And again, so much mobility, so much stretch, feels amazing. And we do it on both sides. And I feel this one not just in my fingers, but all the way, say, the top of my forearm down to the crook of my elbow, where my forearm meets my bicep. When you grab things now, or when you go to maneuver things, your hands are going to have so much strength, dexterity, and mobility that you may not be surprised at all. Yeah, I really like these ones. So we're just getting our fingers spread as wide as we can apart, resting them, pointing towards the ground, palms on the tree, and just leaning in and rolling slowly back and forth. And I like to imagine that I could get every finger independently with this roll. So each angle I'm coming at with this roll is aimed at an individual finger, and all of them at once. It's a really great feeling stretch. Going to finish off this little series with a shoulder stretch. And again, you can see me here searching for a stretch. After a while, you may become more flexible and not be able to find the stretch at first, and so we look around. And then again, I'm rolling my head around, just feeling all the angles in this stretch and imagining that everything can just kind of come apart. Again, not through force, it just kind of relaxes apart on its own. I'm going to go into the legs here. And we all know this one. I call it flamingo stretch. I know it's called other things, but I call it flamingo stretch. Checking my center line up on one foot, jaying that hip toward the sky. So out and up, hanging onto the flat of my foot and standing on the other foot. Same on the other side. I don't suggest everybody do this on a log. I'm just trying to make it interesting for myself here. Checking myself on that side, checking my balance, jaying the hips towards the sky, keeping that knee close to my thigh. Now, the one I don't recommend everybody balancing to try, but I am challenging myself a little bit here, so I want to try this. So legs are far, far apart, reaching up high and diving down, and then crawling my fingers down the log to give myself a deeper stretch. These, for me, being on this log is easier when I remember to keep my balance in what I call the chi spot. 3 finger widths below your belly button and 3 finger widths inside your core. I like to do the jiu-jitsu grips for these side ones when you're reaching down and grabbing a foot or placing your hands on the ground or gripping any way you find appropriate. I just like jiu-jitsu grips here. Hitting the other side and breathing. Feeling good, feeling the stretch, keeping balance. Yeah, I like to roam around and find that stretch. And you can see I'm not going hard. I'm taking it really easy. So I'm not ripping into any of these stretches. It's all nice and easy. I'm not even afraid to move on if I feel like I have to, like something's not busting loose. I'll just move on and possibly find a way to get at it at another angle. Coming back to the center and rolling up. Looking up high, really stretching out and feeling that. Diving forward and relaxing down. Imagining those shoulders being dragged to the ground. Side. Using that log to just pull me a little further to the side. It's funny, when you're up on the log, gravity feels stronger than when you're on the ground, and it does give you a better stretch. Some trick of the mind causes you to hold your body differently, and you do get a bit of a different stretch. Breathing. Using good mechanics to come up out of that. Shaking it out. Left toes are pointing forward, right toes are pointing out to the right. And we're just leaning to the right. Feet are out wide. Looking up at the fingertips helps keep your balance. And breathing. And so I'm thinking here, maybe I can go a little further. And I use the log to enable me to do that. I think the gravity up here is different just because the ground isn't there to stop you from taking it just a little further. Like here, you see me grabbing the side of the log, and I'm able to take this stretch just a little further than I would be able to on the ground. So here you see just how wide of a range of motion I'm getting a stretch at here. Sitting back on that cheese spot, bringing my toes up and pointing up. You do get a different stretch if you point them forward from when you point them up, or from when you point them forward like I am doing here. Getting up, dropping my weight down into that balance point, finding all these different angles. Again, using the log to reach just a little further. Kind of, you see me bouncing a little bit there. I'm meeting some resistance, and so adjusting and finding a way. Then relaxing down into that stretch. This isn't for everyone right away to be able to point your feet out like I have them here to hit that glute area, but this is turned into one of my favorite stretches, and I like to try to hit it from all kinds of different angles, and you'll see that later when we're up, standing up, going against the tree. Feels so amazing. So here I begin to demonstrate the different levels. So you can go chest to shin with your foot kind of dangling there like that, or you can go chest to shin and put your leg all the way out straight like I'm doing here. Shout out Vivo Barefoot. Look at those things. Love these shoes. Or you can go chest to shin with your foot on the ground like that, and that's all different levels. And you can do it here. So I'm going chest to sky or back of head to butt with that left foot on the ground, or I can wrap it around like a little grapevine a little bit and do the same thing, or I can get that foot out there like that and have a straight leg and do the same thing. And if you're very diligent, you can hit all three whether you find yourself advanced or not. I don't get much of a stretch in this pose while up on the log, but again, if you do it on the ground, you will have a much different experience. In my opinion, I get much more of a stretch in my glutes when I do this one on the ground. I do get a bit of a stretch up here, but not much. Yet it does this transition here. I like this stretch more on the log than I do on the ground. I think that that side of my body just has a little bit more torque. That right knee in the back there is dropping down and giving this stretch just a little bit more torque, and my left knee straddled on that log gives this stretch just a little more torque. It feels so much better than it does on the ground. So this is me trying to remember where I'm at in the sequence. Then we're going to go into what I like to call the Dragon Ball Z. This is my new most favorite pose. I get a lot of stretch out of this, not because of the aesthetic of it, but just because of the stretch I get out of it. So here again, we're dropping that weight down into that spot 3 finger widths below our belly button and 3 finger widths into our core. You see me rolling around there, and again hitting another angle. I can go down to the ground and perform the same stretch, but maybe I can't quite get my other leg up there and stay on top of the log. So try something different, or I can put my knee down and I'm just driving my cheese spot forward and up, almost like a J. But the mechanics of it has it being pulled to the ground, and then I just rock that weight or manipulate that weight forward into the sky. Then we just can add a little twist on it. Go up, go down on the knee, and you can do a twist from there, or you can get up off of that knee and do a twist there. And those are all variations and all different angles. They're all aimed at the same area, but do hit slightly different angles. Reaching back here and just driving those hips forward again while letting the weight grab them to the ground. Let my body just kind of shift that weight forward. And breathing and relaxing and rolling just a little bit, always looking for that new angle. Shaking it out, feeling good, catching our breath. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I get feeling really good and I have to calm down. So I have to take a second to just take a deep breath and calm down. Again, we're looking up to our fingertips, which is going to help us keep our balance. Swinging down, relaxing that chest down to the thigh, but also everything is aiming to drop down my center line. Rocking back, sitting back. Again, we're on an object balancing, and this is my left side, and so I'm not as good on that side yet. And so I have to take it slow and figure it out. Take it slow, feel it, find it, and figure it out. Yeah. Find that spot and just relaxing down into that. And again, I know this isn't for everybody, so what you can do is you can be down in the pine needles doing this rather than up on the log doing this. Or if you have more than one person at a time, you can have a person on the log and a person on the pine needles according to their level of ability. Here again, foot angled out, and that is just the greatest stretch. An amazing stretch. Chest is relaxing down to shin, and just breathing. Everything is relaxing down, not just relaxing the chest down to the shin, but everything is relaxing down and just kind of slumping down into the ground in a nice relaxed manner. We got the grapevine and we got the leg straight out. All different angles, all different feelings. Even here, so my arms are just like two braces, and then everything else just slacks down towards the ground. Or if you can imagine two pillars, and everything else is just dangling from those two pillars at the shoulder joints. Different angles for different people. Relaxing down, down, down. That's the thing about the balance spot here on this log too, is once you find it, if you just relax down into it, it becomes way less of a fight than if you're up flopping around, fighting that center spot. Again, that right leg is kind of gripping the log, and the left knee or left thigh are all just relaxing down to the ground on the other side of this log. And it's such a great sense of relief. It's almost like a giant all-natural roller, as if you were rolling your muscles out. And then we go into the dragon ball, relaxing that left elbow into the hip. Nice. Dropping all that weight right down that center line. If you can imagine a line going down through the top of my head, out through the bottom of my body, down to the ground. All my weight is being dropped down through there. Then I'm using body mechanics to manipulate kind of how I want it to slide down. So you see here, I'm giving it a little torque. All that weight is still dropping down, but now there's a little torque on the muscles in the frame that are around it. You can do it on the ground. You can do it on a knee, or you can do it on your feet. All according to your level of ability, of course, with the goal to be doing the stretch on both feet, but also to have the willingness to be able to still, when you can do it on both feet, do all three levels. And just showing the stretch. And here, this is just me trying a couple stretches, like, I wonder what I can do here. This one doesn't feel like anything at all. Feel this one a little bit. Maybe I'll try to figure out something with it. But I don't know yet. Just trying them to see how they feel, if I can do anything in there at all. And then thinking about it. And I encourage you to do the same thing. Come out here and play around. And you don't have to take it all serious or, keep it routine and get stale. Always be looking for ways to add something. So right here, I have big nubs on the bottom of my shoes, so it's really easy for me to just grab a couple nubs and relax my arm, my right arm down to the ground and pull that leg. Same here. I'm just relaxing my right leg and relaxing everything else. And you see, kind of hard to balance there. Finding that balance. And then relaxing everything down. Right or left toe is kind of gripping that log, and right hand is gripping that log. Again, we're coming through here and you see the jujitsu grip. Always looking for excuses to think about jujitsu. Relaxing that right leg, relaxing that left leg, and stretching out that butt. There we go. Nice. So we're just going in the opposite direction now. Of course, we like to hit all the angles. Again, I have those chunky nubs on the bottom of my shoe, so it's easy to get a grip here. You might not be able to do that. You might have to have a towel or a belt or something like that, a t-shirt, to be able to get that leg out there like that. Going to the other side. And again, just relaxing that left leg, and you'll end up in the stretch. You don't have to force it at all. The more you can relax, the more flexible you'll be, in my opinion, because everything just kind of falls into place. You don't have to actually try very hard. Relaxing down, going into the jiu-jitsu grip. And breathing. Even here, the balance is 3 finger widths below my belly button and 3 finger widths into my core. And breathing, constantly breathing. Left leg is going up into the right hand. I'm looking to the left, dropping my left leg in my right hand to my right. I'm having to adjust here because, again, we're on a log and it's not entirely easy to balance on here. Left toes are in left hand and dropping straight out to the left. So my left leg is parallel with my left arm, then letting the right side of my body dangle off of the log. Then I'm going for a bit of a back stretch here and almost fall off the log a couple times. Gather myself. Try again. Go slower this time. And voila. We are now in position. And even here, like having to balance and relax at the same time, they seem opposites, but I find that the more I can relax into the balance, even there, the easier it is. Alright, so not everybody's going to be able to go up as high as me, but you can use different areas of the tree to just throw your foot up on. Again, I'm relaxing my chest here down to my leg. I don't have to force it at all. And I'm using the tree to add some force without forcing it. I know those things sound different from one another, but they do line up. And so I can go higher than other people, so I do go higher than other people. I'm just relaxing that chi spot down and manipulating it forward toward the tree, and then kicking that foot out. This is that other spot I was talking about where this feels so good. Just letting the outer blade of your foot rest there while relaxing down into it and exploring around a little bit, hopping out a little further, getting more of a front splits going on here. Man, it feels good. Using my right elbow against my inner right thigh to just torque myself to the side a little bit there. Sitting back, left foot is planted flat, just sitting back and exploring all the different little areas I might be able to find in there. You have to be careful after you stretch like this too. If you're not used to doing this and working out, you can go into your next workout a lot more loose than usual and not necessarily strong in that full range of motion. So just don't go too crazy after you begin these. Wait a while before you're going hard on the stretching and hard on the working out, or just be mindful when you're doing both. just using that tree to drive that hip or drive that G-spot a little further toward the tree. Here, using it to just get a little bit of a better stretch. Turning that foot out. Relaxing down. Going for that front split stretch. Still not quite there, but getting there. There we are going. Getting sideways and using that left arm to torque on that left leg. Got the little T cup grip on the toes there. Yeah, and when my foot slid loose there, it was perfect time to just move on to the next one. Here we're just doing calf stretches. We all know and recognize calf stretches. And again, I'm using that tree to just relaxedly bring more force to that calf. And then you see me moving around a little bit, finding different ways, different angles to get into that calf. And you can feel this all the way up into your butt because you're getting all the different little fibers, all the different little muscles that connect up that chain. Again, when you go to do anything, now your foot has a wider range of motion, and then so a wider range of strength, and that goes up into your ankles and into your calves and shins and into your thighs and into your glutes. So this looks like I'm reefing, but really that right hand or that right arm is just a brace, and that left elbow is being relaxed down into the ground, which is putting torque on the front of those foots. And then just gently twisting that, shaking it out, going on to the other side. Left hand or left arm is the brace. Right elbow is just relaxing to the ground, giving that ankle a whole lot of torque down into those toes. And relaxing. Here I'm just kind of getting a little more torque out of those toes. Nice and easy, not forcing it at all. Do have those nubs on the bottom of the shoe, so it makes it a little bit easier. And here just letting you can see my toes are bent, and relaxing that chi spot down and letting it slide back and really pull apart those toes, really pull apart the ball of that foot. Hopping it over to the other side, sitting down and letting that weight slide back and really begin to pull apart those toes.